So I'm having a bit of a dilemma. So here's my sort of problem. I'm officially selling this camera. This is it. This is the last time I'll record on this camera. We've been through a lot. I'll see you in a second though. And we're back. It's been 7 months. We've been kind of up to a lot, but I kind of want to think the video is already going to be a little bit long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be concise, and I'll keep the welcomes and the updates for a future video. I know it's been like a year or two or however long it's been, but it's time to move on. It's time to get something better and different and hopefully bigger. But the issue is what do I get next? So I kind of wanted to make a video talking about my thoughts and all the research I've done up to now, kind of like built in and put together into like one sort of video to hopefully help you guys. I think that I just did a short film. For those who aren't following me on Instagram and everywhere else, we just shot another short, not amidst another one. I just had this place to myself for a couple of weeks, so I just called a couple of friends, and I was borrowing the Blackmagic camera from Patrick, if you've been following any of my other videos, and so we just kind of shot like a short. It was quite fun. It was an exhilarating experience, especially to do something of that quality with just about $0. I think we spent some like $50 a day on food and some money on gas, some craft stuff. I think that maybe one or two small things, but overall I think it didn't cost us more than $300 or $350, which is incredible for a short film, and especially how much money we typically spend. I need to do so much. I'm so tired. How long this is gonna go on? And then we stop. And then we stop. Oh, sorry, I wanted us to like stop immediately. Just like both. And then we stop. That thing really kind of hurt right here, whatever that thing was. Oh man. That really fucking stings. Yeah, that's what metal does to you.
No, you know, I thought I was a robot. I thought I was playing a robot. And then Knights has to play the robot because, I don't know, I can't play a fat robot in this movie.
No such thing as fat robots, bitch.
Alright, you know what? I'm gonna tell Skynet to die.
Good luck.
Yes, I sold my camera, and right now I'm using my sister's A6000 Sony. I'm using it as a webcam, and I'm also streaming with it, which is kind of how I'm able to do a lot of these videos. So that's kind of where that situation lies. This kind of video, what I wanted to talk about essentially is, should you lease your camera, and kind of my experience and my opinions about it. So for those who don't know, my A7S II was leased/financed, I guess. So like the leasing kind of that I kind of was doing was a lease to own. So I was paying about, forgot, it was like, I got it like a 2016. I had like a 3-year plan, and it's essentially finished now. And now, so I'm kind of looking at like, okay, well, what's my next camera going to look like? What should I do? How should I go about that? And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to even consider leasing, I kind of want to kind of break down the positives and the negatives. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll make a video about it. So I kind of want to make this video a little bit more to the point, and go a little bit, and show a little bit of kind of where my mindset was back then and kind of where it was, where it is now. I'll start with the negatives, and then I'll kind of go into the positives. And I'm hoping that anyone watching this video can take a lot of these points and make a better informed decision. So, one of the big negatives is, I think when you're leasing, there's a really good chance that you're being impulsive. And as a result, when you go through with this, it's really a hard thing to go back on, right? It's like once you've done it, it's like it's yours. You have to make these payments moving forward, right? And that's a really tough place. And I think that when I got my A7S II, looking back, I should have waited a couple months and gotten the A7 III, because the A7S II, for those who don't know, the autofocus is terrible, essentially non-existent. So what happens is a lot of like shoots, you're really restricted. I also think there was like a mentality thing that I was missing when I got the A7S II, where I wanted like a camera that was like this, like almost like the semi-hobbyist camera, and those didn't exist in like a small budget as much, right? Where now you can get like cameras that are like $1,000, $2,000, like the XT3 or there's so many cameras in that range that exist that you can get for like $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 that can carry you in that like hobbyist way. And I think that that was a thing that I think that like if you're being impulsive, this is a decision it's very hard to go back on. It's a commitment for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or however long your kind of lease/finance is. So the second negative is it's kind of an extension of what I was talking about. It's that you're forced into this path where you have to now work a certain amount to be able to pay the new bills that you're getting on top of your old bills, right? So it's like if you have like a 2-year lease for a new camera, that could be like $350 of additional payments you have to make, right? And so all of a sudden your previous job that was getting you by might not be getting you by anymore, right? Because that's not $350 once, that's $350 every month for 2 years. It's kind of like having a car, right? Where it's like if you're leasing a car, you need to be doing something that needs that car, because if you're not, then there's these payments that you have to make on that car. Otherwise you're kind of screwed. One of the third points that's kind of something that's really hard to predict is your future income, right? And that's something like where you need to be pretty thoughtful about how you're going to be paying this and where the money's coming from. And if it's not doing work via the camera, then how are you paying for it? Because it's not like a 6-month commitment, right? Like usually a lease is like a year, 2 years, 3 years. My A7S II was 3 years. And so that's kind of like, it's like, okay, well, where am I going to be paying this 2 years down the line, right? And is it a number that I think I'm comfortable with somehow figuring that out, right? And I think that that's something that you need to think about. And if it's something you're like, that's kind of tough, or it's like, I don't know, like if I'm thinking of just getting this camera and maybe shooting some fun shorts with it, maybe getting something too expensive isn't the right thing. Maybe I want to stay in a little bit of the smaller range where I can do like a small gig here and there and be able to cover that price versus needing to do like 6 gigs in a month to be able to cover the lease payment I need to make for it, right? Or the finance payment I need to make for it. Okay, so now we're going to kind of move into like the positives, right? What are the positives? So the first point is you're going to get access to a camera that you would not have access to otherwise. That's the point of a lease or financing it to me, right? Like otherwise you can just go collect like $1,500 or $2,000 and go buy the Blackmagic 4K or the Blackmagic 6K or the XT3, or if you can collect more, XT4 or the A7 III. These are all great cameras, but the big thing is it's really hard to be able to get access to some of the bigger cameras, right? Like there's the Canon, the Canon C200, C300, that cinema lineup. There's the A7S III. There's the Panasonic S1H, and those cameras that are like a little bit more expensive. Getting access to those cameras, being able to do and shoot at that quality, it has its benefits. It definitely has its benefits. Like I think shooting in a smaller camera is just as good. You can still make some incredible stuff, but having having the ability to do external RAW at 16-bit with the new A7S III is something special, right? Like you can, with a camera like that, you can honestly shoot narrative shorts or a narrative feature from what's on paper. So from what's on paper, you should be able to do that. I haven't seen the external RAW yet. So from what's on paper, you should easily be able to shoot a narrative short and then go to like do like a wedding video or all this other stuff, right? Versus like if you pick up the Blackmagic 4K, it doesn't have autofocus. You can't really do a lot of stuff that would require autofocus otherwise. And so there's limitations to all the smaller cameras, right? Like if you get the A7 III, you're only shooting 8-bit. And so there's a lot of other stuff that you need to compromise in some of these smaller cameras, and you don't have access to the quality of what these better cameras can do on a technical level, because your ability to storytell doesn't get better because you have a better camera. It's just with a better camera, the sandbox is larger, if that makes any sense. So the second point is there's something that I've realized is that a lot of clients want something that's better, right? So whether that's the Red, whether it's the RE, whether it's the newest camera that just got released, and not all clients, but some clients you'll be able to incentivize by saying that you have the newest Sony camera, that they're going to get the best quality because you have the newest camera. And that's a real benefit, right? Like if someone has a Red camera, if they own a Red camera, there's a chance that they're going to get hired for a project that you wouldn't be able to get hired for if you have a Sony A7 III, for instance. And that's a really real thing. Now, people that are experienced know that it's your reel that's going to get hired for you most cases, right? Like it's your work, it's you being able to show this is the quality of my work that's going to really get you hired. But there are a slew of clients that you will be able to incentivize as a result of what you have, and that's a real thing. And the third point is that you have no excuses, and you shouldn't have any excuses. Most cameras that are being released today are great cameras. They're incredible. But I think as creators, we have this thing of like creating excuses. And once you have like a great camera, like I remember when I had the A7S II, it was like this thing of like, I was just creating a lot more because I just didn't have an excuse. And at that time when I got it, it was like one of the higher tier cameras. But as it went down, for instance, I started being like, oh, I can't do this because of this, or I can't do this because of this. Like I remember I grabbed the Pocket 4K from Patrick, and I'm like, okay, I'm shooting because like everything this camera can do is like one of the best. In like I wanted to shoot like something narrative, right? And I did. And I think that for me, like as a personal experience thing, I know that I'm gonna like be like, okay, once I get it, I need to shoot all these things. I'm gonna shoot this series, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that once I get this new camera. If you're not like that, then this doesn't really apply to you. But I think a lot of what I'm saying is stuff that like I considered when I got it. I'm gonna do like a 3B as well, which is, and this part can be very like a negative, but I kind of put this part in the positive for me, is that there's no safety net. Once you get it, you have a payment to make, and you have to figure out a way to do work that gets you paid so that you can pay that off. And I find that I thrive in like that sort of pressure. I find that once that exists, I'm like, okay, I know I need to do 3 gigs a month or 2 gigs a month at least to be able to, whether that's like shooting at a restaurant, or it's doing some photography for this person, or it's shooting a wedding, or it's doing some real estate video, or whatever it is. You need to do a certain amount of gigs so that you can pay something off, and I thrive in that kind of environment. If you don't like that, maybe leasing isn't for you. Yeah. Like that's kind of like my points. I hope you guys took something from this video. If you guys have any other questions, if you guys want me to cover anything about anything, if you guys haven't seen my narrative short film for your benefit, link's going to be in the description, or you can just go to the channel and it should be right there. You should go check that out. And yeah, leave a comment what you guys thought about the film. And I've been having a blast kind of reading all the comments that are been there. It's been a blast. Like I think these last 2-3 weeks I've been just trying to really spread it out, and then now create like a slew of videos because I've been feeling a little bit more inspired. Yeah, that's really about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I tried to include some other footage that I shot from a while back because it was just kind of lying there. Yeah, take care. Peace.